Hello, Spencer.
Hello, Governor.
Did I catch you in the aluminium shat house?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, you want some news?
Sure.
I started watching a new television program.
Since you finished with Always Sunny, had to move on to something else?
Yeah, and you're not going to guess what it is.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I always heard of Peaky Blinders, and I thought it was just one of them dry Brit shows.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's about Irish gangsters, and I like it.
Nice.
I like it a lot.
I haven't seen it.
Well, you're missing out, I'll tell you what. What?
Something seems off. What could it possibly be?
One of the many knobs, probably.
Many knobs and buttons and shit. Somebody fucked something up. Everything's been fucked up since we had guests on.
What is hit buttons? What does this do? Does this do something?
No.
I don't know.
I feel like a lot of those buttons and knobs really don't do anything.
They're just for show. Whoa, what did that do? Did that make me sound different? Do I sound different? I think I did sound different.
Yeah.
What does that button do? Here, you try that button.
It takes the shit out of your voice.
I don't know. I like the shit in my voice. So I'm watching Peaky Blinders, and that's exciting. You know what else I'm doing?
What's that?
Reading Jerusalem by Alan Moore. And guess what?
What?
After hitting the 400-page mark,
Yeah.
a plot emerged.
Oh, what?
Yeah, a plot came about, and now it's really good. And now I'm having a hard time putting the book down.
Did you just have to make it through those first 400 pages?
If you can get through the first novel's worth of pages, you can enjoy the book. I was surprised myself, but you know what? Whatever, that's how it is. That's how it goes in this wild, wild world.
So how far into the 400s are you?
I'm 460.
Ooh.
So I'm making progress, and pretty soon I will be on top of the world.
How close to it being finished do you think you can get it by the end of the year?
I'm hoping I can get it done by mid-December.
Yeah?
Unless it gets really hard and complicated, which I think it does, I am hoping I can get done fairly quickly for the girth of the book.
Because you got like another 900 pages to go?
Yeah. But once I finish this book, I'm going to see if I can squeeze in another book before the new year.
Oh, yeah?
That's my goal, and I'm probably not going to stick to it. That's about it. It's all the new business I have. This week sucked. It's Black Friday, and I feel like I am dying of the Black Plague.
Yeah.
Because it's hot, and well, down here. And I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do the work anymore.
It's tough.
It's a tough life. Haven't got any fucking writing done this week, really. And just watching Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. How long is that? Because, like they do like 2-episode seasons over there.
The first season, 6 episodes. Each episode's an hour. So I got a couple more, and I'm done with the first season. After that, I don't know. I didn't look into it.
If you're looking for something to check out in that, like BBC America, British, kind of thing, is you should check out Luther. It's by what's his name does it? Aziz
Ansari.
No. I can't think of how to say his name now. He was the asshole corporate guy in the office from
Will Ferrell.
No, early, like whenever he gets Michael to quit.
Will Ferrell.
It's like oh fuck, man.
You're bad at this.
I'm bad at this. But it's
Jesus
Alba.
fuck! I'm just gonna look it up. Idris Alba, is he the guy?
Idris
or no?
Alba, yeah. I knew him and I knew the name. I couldn't put the word. I couldn't pronounce it correctly. But yeah, it's he plays like a hard-nosed detective that doesn't always do the right thing necessarily, but it's pretty good. But again, it's like the shorter season because there's not a whole there was one season that only has 2 episodes.
Listen, I'm never gonna watch it. I'm just telling you.
Oh, come on, dude.
Have I watched The Wire yet?
No.
So why do you think I'm gonna watch that show first?
Because it's not as long as The Wire.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm just watching fucking British people are idiots, and I'm reading a British book. I don't need any more Britishness. No more of the English.
Just a wee bit.
That's Irish. Actually, that fits because Peaky Blinders is all about Irish gangsters in England.
No, I'm sure they don't get messed with at all.
No. Anyway, we have an awful show, so stick around.
Terrible.
We'll come up with a topic during this interlude. Until then, we'll catch you. Maybe we should just record the cold open and wait a month, and then record the rest of the episode. It'll get better. Welcome to the DPW podcast. Podcast, brother. I am your host, Caleb James. As always, blah, blah, blah. With me today, my guest. Oh, you got demoted to guest because you couldn't come up with an idea.
That's fair.
You could be co-host next week if you come up with an idea.
Eh.
Here with me today, as he usually is, Spencer, the Edmonton Effigy Erector Church. So you erect effigies, Spencer. Where did Wayne that's going to make me sound stupid to the people in finer Canada. Where did Wayne Gretzky mainly play? He didn't play for Edmonton, did he?
I don't know what there's them and then
The fine city of Ottawa.
yeah, I'm going to say like hockey's like the hockey and baseball are like the two sports like I know like the least about.
Right.
But yeah, you'd think there would be more teams in Canada, but there's not.
I was correct. He played for the Edmonton Oilers. I was wondering, because I don't know Canada very well. I know Toronto, I think, has, what do they got? The Blue Jays? Not the Blue Jays. That's baseball.
The Raptors, but that's basketball.
That's basketball. Yeah, I know basketball much better than I know I know hockey. Anyway, you erect effigies of Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
Maybe Bruce Banner. I don't know. Why not? Why not Bruce Banner? He's not Canadian
Well,
or real, but
Wolverine. He's
No.
Canadian.
no, that's not fair.
Oh.
Maybe you don't know that. Today's episode, which I'm probably gonna just delete.
Save everyone the hassle.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going with this. You've been doing some serious writing, huh? I think you said you were 500 pages into a novel now.
So it's so much serious writing that I can't even talk about it. That's how super secret top dollar it is.
Just stop. You're lying to me and the fans who listen to us and pay good money to listen to us. I wish. My writing also, as I said in the cold open, kind of shit the bed this week, but I still was doing a pretty good clip. That's the short story that we brainstormed. I have not even gone back to that, so I don't think I'm going to have that finished for the submission time, so whatever. I've been getting a lot of what's been pissing me off, a lot of really cool ideas for not necessarily the actual story, but how to put together the story and for my novel. And I just, it's always at the worst fucking time. I'll just, I can't sleep, and then all of a sudden I'll think of something cool, and it's like, well, I can't, write it now.
Yeah.
Or usually when I'm at work and I'm really busy, and I'm like, why is it coming to me now?
Yeah.
So that's really irritating. And that's about it. So thank you for listening. I don't know.
The muse has not been working for you recently.
No. I quit drinking any caffeinated products 2 weeks ago. And now it seems that my motivation to live has dwindled a little bit. I didn't have much. I had my coffee in the morning. That's what kept me going.
I was gonna say, is that the coffee too? Because I know you
oh
you
yeah,
drink the coffee.
anything with caffeine, which is mainly coffee. And actually, I didn't really have any physical effects from it, but now I am pretty tired a lot. I don't know. I don't know if it's that or I'm just getting old.
Was there any reason for that, or you just wanted to see?
I don't know. I just want to see how I felt.
And now Caleb's gonna go back to fucking just IV dripping coffee into his
Just
vein.
straight concentrate.
Yeah.
You know what I did start doing that's, I guess, beneficial? I started watching those Alan Moore Maestro classes.
Oh, how's that?
They're good, but they're weird because he talks about magic a lot, but in a way that's cool. Man. But his voice, it's very deep and it's kind of scary, and he's very Northampton British. So it's I don't know, it's troubling.
So when he talks about magic, like magic in the real world, or like how magic in writing, like how to
all of it,
how to set up good magic systems and
no, not that.
But
real magic,
real life magic.
Yeah, but I mean, he brings up some good points. Like he talks about modifying consciousness through writing, which is really cool because, like, if you're reading a novel that's like 100 years old, you're reading the thoughts and ideas and opinions from someone that's been dead for so long.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they can modify your consciousness and your opinions and affect your life, even though they're dead, like from beyond the grave. And, you kind of time travel and get to see different parts of the world and adventure without ever leaving your home. So that is kind of like magic. It's neat.
No, those like broken up in like different lessons like the master classes are? Or?
Yeah, they're like 6 to 12 minutes long per lesson.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, they're nice little chunks. And you download, if you want, I guess there's I haven't done it yet, but there's a lot of like writing, not workshops, but like workbooks or something. Like it comes with it because, like I said, it was on sale, so I got it for like $50 or something. But you could download all the writing lessons and stuff to go over, and then he also, I guess, gives you prompts or I don't know. I gotta look at it, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's not like any of the ones we've done on Masterclass where it's like Neil Gaiman's was really good and he's very strict about talking about like how to come up with the ideas and writing and all this stuff. But Alan Moore, just magic, man. But in a cool way that does relate to writing, which I really like. And I'm just like, man, this guy's neat. And his book is getting really interesting, though. He breaks every writing rule I know so far.
Yeah.
Like, the show Don't Tell. Fuck it, he'll tell you all about whatever it is that he wants to tell you about. The limiting of adjectives and adverbs and all that stuff. Not this feller. Repetitive words, he don't care. He didn't have an editor for this book, I don't think.
Oh, well, I would feel bad for the person who would have to do that.
If this is like an edited down version, could you imagine the original?
Well, as to bring up things that you don't really see in novels too much, is that the novel that I'm reading is in first person.
Yeah, I haven't read a first person novel and probably since one of the Murakami books I read mid last year.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a thrillery kind of thing. Like it's a bodyguard who's holding over their client. But yeah, it took me a minute to when I was after reading the first couple pages, I had to go back and was like, yeah, no, he keeps on saying I and we, and yeah, this is first person. It took me a minute to actually wait, what? Because they're all first person books and stories and stuff out there, but especially for a full novel, you don't really get too much of that.
I thought that wouldn't affect you so much after reading a lot of the H.P. Lovecraft. That's all first person.
Yeah, but that was years ago, and
yeah.
I try to get that out of my mind.
What gets me more than first person, because like I said, I read enough work where not every other book, but a good portion of books I read have been in first person, especially a lot of the Japanese books I've been reading. But present tense books, that's what gets me. Whenever I read a book that's just strictly present tense, I don't know. It's not that I don't like it, because I don't remember if it was Kafka on the Shore. One of my favorite Murakami books was present tense, and I really liked the book, but just the writing in present tense, I don't know, it's just weird. It's we're so used to he ran, not he runs.
Yeah.
It just seems weird. He runs to the mall and he goes inside and he punches the guy in the face. I'm just no, he ran to the mall and he went inside and he punched the guy in the face. He doesn't punches the guy. I don't like the present tense. It shouldn't be happening. It's weird. I guess if you watch movies, it's usually present tense though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You think we'd be used to it. And that's the funny thing is, because I think we discussed this years ago on here. Most modern writers apparently, well, I don't know. It was a fad for a while. Maybe it fell off again, but most modern writers were writing in present tense, and a lot of the submissions I always took at DPW were present tense. And I always felt that it fucked up horror writing.
Yeah.
We discussed this many times probably already, but for anyone who hasn't listened to those episodes, why I don't like present tense in horror is because it takes away the suspense.
Mm-hmm. Because
it's happening as it's happening, so how do you, build that tension as much? He creeps around the corner. Well, fuck, I don't know. I already know he's creeping now. He's there. He's standing behind her and he's going to strangle her. He stood behind her and he leans. I don't know. I feel like horror fiction is better in past tense because it just gives you more anticipation for what's going to happen. Whereas maybe like some noir fiction or fast-paced action, present tense would probably work better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, maybe I just read too much into it, and it doesn't really matter one way or the other. And if you're a good enough writer, it probably doesn't matter. But present tense still throws me off when I come across it. I'm not a big fan.
Now, what interested me when you said the present tense with Murakami is like because like I just with it being like Japanese or Chinese or from a different language, like I wonder
what the tenses are there.
Well, yeah, and just like in wherever whatever region, like what's their like quote unquote rules and standing on like they like anti third person and
Well, Spanish is they have past tense, which because most Spanish learners actually learn present tense first. So like some of the beginner Spanish books I have, like novels that are half Spanish and then the other pages in English so you can keep up. Most of those are always like in present tense because the past tense is like everything changes. It's kind of annoying. But like I don't know what Japanese if they have past tense or how that works. But I know what would be different is like the first person, third person. I don't know how that exactly works because in their language, a lot of the stuff is just inferred that who is being talked about. So you wouldn't say, I'm going to the movies. It's just going to the movies. And, like, they just know you're going. I mean, there is, like, Watashi's I. Like, you could say I'm going to the movies, but usually they just don't. Or, like, if you're talking to somebody and it's like, hey, are you going to the mall later? It's just going to the mall later. You don't have to say you because they know. It's just inferred. Whereas in our country, that can be a little strange.
That's just, like, in their language period, just not their writing, just like in...
Well, that's just the Japanese, so I would imagine in their books and stuff it would be the same. Though if you have a whole group of people, they'd probably just say you by name, I would imagine, but you can't just have a book with a group of people and just say, oh, are you going out tonight? Like, you can't just say going out tonight. You wouldn't know who they were talking about. If it was a group of people, even if you said, are you going out tonight, usually you still have to be specific with who you're speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Japanese is kind of strange like that. I don't even want to get into. I don't know anything about Chinese, so that's probably impossible. Because that's a tonal language. I don't know if you know anything about those, but if you have a tonal language, a sound, the tone of the sound changes the word or what the meaning of the word is. So if it's like aya, I'm just making that up. I don't know if that's a word. But if you just said like aya, or you said aya, or aya, like the tone, that's a different word. It's not the same word. Versus here, you can say there, like it's the same. So that would be a nightmare. Learning Mandarin or Cantonese, I don't think I could do it. And then Russia, from my understanding, Russia and even more specifically Arabic, it's just
it's just
throw up out of your throat.
Yeah, it's just grunting, right?
You're just fighting the demons in your throat is what I understand, and I don't know if there's actually words involved. I'm trying to think too, because like Irish, that would be interested to see. Like, I don't think I've come across in my lessons anything that's like past or present tense. I don't know if that's ever been made specific. I don't know if that is a specific thing. Though they do have like your names and whatnot, but I don't know. That's something I actually should look up more. Maybe we do an episode on that, just like different languages, like the way, because that'd be really interesting. If you like read a Japanese book, it's translated to first person. Is it written in first person in Japanese? Is that I don't know. I did because I'm not advanced enough. I never got into any of that stuff. I'm fucking barely kindergarten level with any of that stuff.
You know what popped into my head a couple weeks ago when we were talking to Nicholas Obregon was when we were talking about, parts of that case, for his podcast, Faceless, and we talked about, like, how the guy got into the computer, and then that was the first time I thought about, like, computer keys, like, over in Japan.
Yeah, they have the Japanese characters.
Yeah, but, I mean, are they still, like, I didn't know, like, if they set, if they're set up like an American keyboard, like, the same way, or if they, because, like, how their language goes down, you know what I mean? Like, when you're writing...
Their language doesn't always go down. Which is confusing. It could go both normal, like sideways, like ours. I think it might go right to left though, like mangas. But like I think like newspapers and stuff, it generally goes down. I'm not sure, because like that Norwegian wood copy I got, I'm pretty sure it goes lines, but it goes down. But I've seen like you can do it left to right, because like street signs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen. I don't think I've ever seen Japanese keyboard necessarily, but I've seen the keyboard for a phone. And that's like, how the fuck do you can't? It's so small. I think it's just like the hiragana they use, like the characters. There's like just the normal characters. They don't use like the like the advanced
because they have
characters.
so many, right?
Of the advanced ones, yeah, like the kanji, they have like 10,000 plus of those. But so you can't do that on the keyboard. But like the hiragana, which is just like the sounds, it'd be like kind of like our alphabet almost. Like what makes up the word, like the word hiragana, you have one that's just he, and then you have one that's just RA, and then GA, and then like the sounds. So that's probably what they do. Then I don't know though. It's like if you're writing a novel or something, you're using all these advanced characters. Like that's got to come up, but is it on the keyboard? Does it come up automatically? I have no idea, and I'm sure I sound very stupid to anyone who knows. Like again, something we could probably look up. But if you look at keyboards in any country, like Chinese keyboards, again, tonal language. I don't even know. Like I can't imagine what the right. How would you? There has to be a way that you could tell the difference between a word's tones in a written form, right? Like, is it just maybe the character looks different? I don't know.
Maybe like the thickness of like the like like the boldness of it.
Yeah.
Like like if it's thinner, it's a certain thing. But if it's thicker, something else. I don't.
Because like all the Latin-based Romance languages are pretty easy to once you learn how to read them, you're good.
Yeah. And also, like, they're a different language, but they also use, like, the same letters.
For the most part. I mean, they have the accented letters, but they have the same letter system.
Yeah.
Because it's based in Latin. And, like, English, since we've taken so many words from Latin, it's very similar. Mm-hmm. And a lot of, like, even if you started reading a lot of Spanish, like a random newspaper, you just try to read a whole article, you're not going to be able to read it, but you could pick out certain words that just because they're similar to English, the English version.
Yeah.
That's why I like learning languages, just because I want to read. Like I want to read a book in Spanish to see how much different it is
than reading like a book translated from Spanish.
Yeah, like I want to read a book that's read one in English and read one in Spanish and see the difference. Japanese, I would never be proficient enough.
No,
I started too late with languages, and I'm not very adaptive to languages. Like I've been getting fairly good at Spanish, but that's an easier one. And honestly, as long as I've been doing it now, if I was actually good at that kind of stuff, some people just have I don't know if it's like a genetic, like their brain just works better. They could pick that stuff up easy. If I was one of those people, I would already be fluent in Spanish now, which I'm not even close. Like I could read, basic Spanish, but even so, when I try to read like newspaper articles and stuff, there's a lot of words I don't know. So I'm just like, but I am at the point now where when I'm reading Spanish, I can use actual context clues in the paragraph to know what a word means, which is really cool because just think about doing that in a different language. That is kind of that's a cool trick you finally pick up. So I don't know. And like I do want to learn French one day, but for no real reason, just because you got like the pompous rich guys.
I was gonna say, don't worry, Caleb. You're already pompous ass. You don't really need it.
Oui. Yeah. Is it double we or is it just we? It's just we.
About like wee.
Nah, that's yes. Oui. Monsieur. I already fucked it up. I don't think I get the mouth for French. I got an ugly American mouth. I can't make American words sound good. I can't barely make English words sound good, but not American English. And then how to do French.
Though it would be nice to know like curses in French because it just seems like that's kind of like, like the go-to like. I
feel like curses in French though are all like your mother is a warthog, like stupid shit like that. I don't think they got good curses.
No, but I mean just like how to say like it'd be nice to like any curses in all languages, like like just like the fucks, the shits, the
So you get beat up in every country you go to?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Italian would be a fun language to know because they're so animated.
Yeah.
Like and Italian's close enough to Spanish that you could pretend. Like if you know Spanish and you could just like add a bunch of orgios to the end of it, and
you just couldn't go there. Pizza pizza.
Yeah, the mashed potatoes and the asparagus, and I don't know.
It's me, Mario.
It's so funny in Japanese though because they have so many loan words, which is I think it's the katakana is the loan words they use. So like camera, and it's just camera, but they use whatever they're spelling. But I just love it because if you go to Japan and you go you try to just sound like a jackass, like biru. that's actually beer. Like they just, like a lot of their loan words, they just add a U or an O to it, and it actually is the you know, because like cold brew coffee, I think is like cold brew coffee. Like, it just sounds racist, but that's actually how they pronounce it.
It makes you sound like a jackass.
Yeah, like because loan words, like I think after the Meiji period or maybe after World War II, just a lot of new words that came in. Because same with Spanish words, a lot of new words they just end up using the English version or something very close. But like Japan, they have a lot of loan words that will just straight be English, and then they just add like this weird Japanese pronunciation to it that doesn't change it really. Like you would understand what they're saying, but it just sounds ridiculous. It just sounds like somebody's like pretending they can speak Japanese by saying English words funny. But I like that. So if you ever go to Japan, Spencer, you can just try it.
You just sound like a fucking yokel tourist. Just
like you know what table is?
A table?
Tabaroo.
Tabaroo.
You don't have to say it like stupid though. Like tabaroo.
I feel like that's the only way I'd be able to say it though. Like, if I was just like tabaroo, I don't feel like you'd get it across.
Nani? I don't. It's funny because anything I learned from Japanese before actually studying Japanese came from anime.
Yeah.
So it's always so over exaggerated. Like, you know, hey buddy, Nani? Like instead of just like a normal what, it just Nani? What? Like no, it's just Nani. They have to say it so angry. Like everything's so exaggerated in the animes. I don't know why.
Got a emote.
But it's so funny because everything in anime seems so exaggerated, but then Japanese people are generally demure and calm and quiet, and then just the opposite. You're not seeing a lot of Japanese people just going around screaming words.
That's why you just get it out that way. You get it out through, you know.
Must be fun to be a Japanese voice actor.
Oh, yeah.
Because they get to, like, really express themselves in a way that, you know, general societal interactions don't allow. I would really be... Because over here, like, you could just scream in public and everyone's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
That's normal for stupid loudmouth Americans.
Though I'm sure that that's just the anime and stuff that we've watched where there's like a lot of fighting and kicking, like, you know what I mean? Like
no, because I've watched some anime movies that are newer too that have come out that are more quiet and like nature based and shit like that, and it's the opposite. They're not over exaggerated in the screaming and fighting kind of manner. They're over exaggerated in like the quiet. It's when you get like the girls. Who was like, like they talk real quiet. It's like, oh, you're like, what is happening here? Oh, Genki desu. Like just very quiet and just you're laughing because like they don't talk like that either. But you can't say it's racist because they're the ones doing it. Like they're making the over exaggerations.
I do like whenever like I've like you've watched like a anime like a dubbed or subbed anime, you know, with the Japanese voices still, and it's like, and we've talked about this before, but like you don't necessarily start to understand the words, but you can start to recognize, like you're like, oh, they keep on saying that, like that's a word. I kind of know what it means because I know that it's somewhere in this sentence.
Yeah,
but like I'm understanding like that's a separate word, like that's a different part, like that's one word to or I don't know if word's probably not the right word for that but you know, like you can start noticing some of the
key phrases
that they're saying by just like repeating a lot.
Another thing I enjoy about Japanese anime, which we saw when that one TikTok song came out, is how the females and the males are so exaggerated in opposite directions, especially with like the sexualization. Like you think about that one TikTok sound that came out. It was like I don't know if I guess it's supposed to be an anime girl. She's like, Ichi, ni, san, arigato. She's like real happy and bubbly, like you think of the weird game shows. But then like they did a remix one with like some fucking, it's supposed to be like an older guy, I think. He's like, Ichi, ni, san, arigato. And he's like so over the top with it. Like, why do he sound like that? It sounds like a fucking molester. It's 'cause especially when they had the girl do it first. So he's like, he sounds like you have this underage girl and this old creep. Like, what is this? Which is not far off from a lot of anime. Master Roshi. There's a lot of creepiness in that. Another thing with like the languages too, this is more of a cultural thing. You ever just think about the cultural differences and how that relates to the writing of literature? Because we always think about like French people, you know, the well, that's fucking Spanish. I don't know how to do a French sound. Like the French people, though, it's the Romance language and whatever. But when you look at their fiction and stuff, and especially like the we talked about a while ago, the indie French movies, like what did you say, gay cowboys eating pudding?
Yeah.
But it's always I don't know if it's so much now, but it was always like the whole older guy and like teenage girl thing, and it was like okay. And I think over there was a big uproar because they were finally trying to up the legal age to like 16 or something to have like
how
consensual.
dare you?
Yeah, this is our culture. But you just think about things like that bleed over into the literature. So when you read things like that, it just seems very creepy or gross. But over there, it might not be. Just like in Japanese literature, it's always stuff about cats and weird mythological fucking creatures, and especially like if you read pre-emperor, not pre-emperor, but like during the emperor's real reign, fiction set, and then it was like all about this, like the country pride was so high that it was like you know, like the kamikaze bombers in World War II, like they would kill themselves for the emperor, and it's like whoa, and that goes into the fiction. You're like, nobody could be that gung-ho about their country. Like, it just seems crazy to us, but because at the best, Americans never gave a shit about the country that much.
No.
We're not like just suicide bombing. Like, that's nuts. Though now we see a resurgence of fanaticism in the U.S. government and the right and the left. So we've seen a lot of atrocities committed on behalf of certain people now, and you're like, what the fuck? More of movements than people, but I could totally see like America going that way, where it's like, nah, my guy's the best, I'll die for him, and you're like, whoa. But we never really had that before, like to that degree. Post Civil War, obviously people were dying for their country, but again, that was more for their
beliefs.
I think it was just money.
Yeah,
I don't think it was their beliefs, because whose beliefs are that shitty where it's like, oh, I should be allowed to own slaves to make money.
I don't know,
because Jesus said so. Like, no, I don't think they actually believe in Jesus said so. Maybe that's how they convince themselves that it's right, but I don't like it.
I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms that we're still dealing with today.
Our country was founded, Spencer, on some goddamn bullshit, and we just kind of rolled with it. Everybody got fucked. Everybody but the white man. Even white women.
Oh, yeah.
African folk. Obviously, the indigenous Americans got boned hard, the hardest. And what do we got now? Everybody hates each other. Yeah. Good job, America.
That's like one of the things that really annoy me when, recently people here complain about whatever, political thing, whatever it's like, and somebody's just like, it's getting to the point where it ain't gonna be it's not gonna be the United States of America anymore. And I just want to be like, what the fuck do you even mean by that? What are you saying by that statement? And do you know our history at all? First of all, we stole it. Stole it.
We didn't buy it.
We stole it.
We didn't make an even exchange of anything. Stole that shit.
And then we stole some other people.
People.
We stole other people from a completely different place to have them do all of the hard shit for us.
Under the guise of fair trade. How atrocious is that? We were like, no, if we give you money and tea and sugar and shit, we could buy humans. That's fine, right? And you got a bunch of poor people like, okay. Like, what the fuck is that? Terrible.
And then all under the ruse that free people, which then again, if you want to go through that, America is land of the free, home of the brave, you shouldn't get mad when other people come here. It's kind of the point. It's what we did. Like,
literally how the country was invented. When we're talking about the cultural significance of literature and how if we read, say, a book set in India in the early 1900s, we'd be like, what the fuck? English colonization, these fucking ass munches.
Yeah.
If somebody reads Huckleberry Finn, they're going to be like, holy shit, there's no way America was like that. There's no way a country could be like that at all. Boy, howdy, was it, though.
Yeah.
And that was a fun version.
Right,
Huckleberry Finn is a fun comedy. And holy shit, is it abominable that happened. So I could only imagine, because I have 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup, and I've been wanting to read that for years now, and because I saw the movie.
Can't get in the mind space for it?
I think I'll just get so pissed off, I don't think I could do it. because that's gonna be like the truth.
Yeah.
Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, that's well-to-do white man who opposed that kind of stuff, but didn't actually do anything about it, as far as I know.
It's bad.
But he at least saw that it was bad and immoral to own people. But he tells a fun story about it. Makes it a satire. That is not the atrocious truth of what happened. And so, same with like Beloved by Toni Morrison. When I read books like that, it hits so hard that I get in a funk. Like when I read Invisible Man, it wasn't as bad. But when I read Native Son by Richard Wright, that was like a harder hitting version of Invisible Man, because not only is it dealing with like poor black people and how they're treated in America and like Chicago in 1920s or something, but then we got like the Native Son was like the even worse. It was like the more brutal, murdery kind of shit, whereas Invisible Man was just like super racist. And I was like, oh God, why were people treated like that? That's just, I don't understand. Like, how can anyone treat another person like in any age?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not see another person and just be like, no, I wouldn't want to like saw their arms off slowly as they bleed and scream to death. Like, but some people are just fine with it, depending on the color of your skin or your religion or where you're from. And it's like, what the fuck? What happens in your life where that's a belief?
Like you said, it's not okay at any time, but at least like hundreds and thousands of years ago, you could use the ignorance and, hey, I'm just trying to get by with this, like, you know.
When you're actually fighting to survive.
Yes, but like now, though, it makes no sense.
I'd say at least at the very minimum, post-Shakespeare, nobody should have been doing any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But once we hit fine literature, well, that should be like the epoch of society. We should be like, okay, now we treat each other better. But no, somehow we made money, and that made everything worse. Fucking, it's just, it drives you nuts. And you know what else is funny? Because I noticed in America now, I've seen so many little white kids come from racist families, and the kids love rap music, they love Black Panther, they dress as Black Panther for Halloween, all this shit. And I just always think to myself, so these kids obviously are not going to grow up racist, you would hope.
Yeah.
Because they love black culture so much, Black American culture. But I'm wondering, like the kids that you see at, you know, these fucking Trump rallies and shit, their parents are like actively trying super hard to make those kids racist.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the only way they could do it now, because it's so ingrained. Like black culture is so ingrained into society now that it's just straight American culture now. Mm-hmm. It's not, like people call it black culture, but it's really not. When every song on the radio is probably a black artist for the most part, and every movie features any kind of diversity you can think of for the most part. And like that's all these kids are seeing. I mean, I can't say like, you know, rural Alabama or something. They're probably not getting too much of that. But still, it's like to make a kid racist now in 2022, or homophobic or anything, you actively have to instill that in them, like to a hardcore degree. Not only is that child abuse, but that is just, how can you hate somebody that you don't know so bad that you would want your kids and your descendants to hate those people? I don't get it.
Because that's the way it should be.
That's tradition. That's the way my great-great-great-great-great-grandpa would have wanted it. And he knew best, because when he was shitting in that big fucking hole in the street, in the dirt road, and he was out there, you know, burning witches and whatnot, he knew a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. And then to think like, to bring it back around to the right, and it's like you have all these different things that you kind of want to like, oh, I want to talk about this, I want to use this in my work, but then it's like, but I don't want to deal with this, like, you know, a whole novel of like maybe of dealing with you know, like racism or something, and it's just like, A, am I able to do that properly? And B, like, can I just get in the mindhead space for that without just being, like, clinically depressed by the end?
That's why it's hard for me to write really heinous characters that aren't so over the top. It's, you know, parody. Like, you know, you can write a racist character. For me, I would have to make it, you know, like a parody almost. Like, it would have to be a joke of a character, because if I actually wrote an authentic racist character, I'd get super bummed out thinking that kind of way, because you have to get into the mind of that person to write them, and I just don't think I would want to. It's kind of why I steer clear of that stuff for the most part. Like, it's easy to write the, you know, the racist character that just gets beat up or whatever, like I said, over the top, but to have an actual genuine hate-filled awful character like that. I don't know if I'd want to write that. And like you're saying about like that kind of writing, when was the last time we really had a great American novel? Because nobody wants to really touch on that stuff too much in a real genuine way.
Well, because you can't nowadays, because whatever stance or way you want to lean to,
Somebody's going to just hate the fuck out of it.
You're going to lose half of what could be your audience because everybody's just so polarized nowadays to where like people now can't be like, you and me were arguing about something and be like, well, yes, Caleb, I believe that murdering babies isn't cool, but yes, I could see where you would maybe in a certain situation could find that it's okay to murder a baby, Caleb. I could see where you're coming from, but like
when those babies get up in your crawl space and they start digging in your wiring, you got to get rid of them.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
But like, you know, there used to be a point where people who disagreed about things could still find like a common ground, or at least acknowledge like, this is what I think and believe, that's what you think and believe, and that's okay. But now it's like, fuck you, you don't like my red tie. No, fuck you, you don't like my blue tie. Like,
it used to be when civil debate was wrought in such disdain for each other that you couldn't do anything and have a civil conversation anymore. They would duel to the death.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, no, you're such an asshole, and we can't even, civilly disagree. I have to shoot you to death. So mostly people were like calm with each other. It's like, all right, I don't want to have to fight this guy to the death. And because, people think dueling is guns, but also I think swords originally. Many ways to duel. I'd like baseball bat. Wow. But if you know a duel could be the outcome of a disagreement, you'd be a lot more civil. And I think we need to make it law again. Because not too long ago, there was I don't know if he was a presidential candidate or just running for governor or something, but he had a disagreement with one of these media talking heads, I think, or another politician, and he challenged him to a duel.
Oh,
but the other guy made sure, he's like, no, that's illegal, you can't do that. But it's got to be legal somewhere in this country. Texas, maybe.
Oh, yeah, some place down southern somewhere has to be.
If Oregon could have the, I forget the name of it, like, not civil combatant, but like where you can agree upon fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're both having an argument, get a cop and you say, hey, we're going to fight each other because he's a dickhead. And he is also a dickhead. And we might be drunk, but we want to fight each other. It's consensual combat here. And then the cops go, okay, we'll watch. Make sure it doesn't get out of hand. You fight, shake hands or whatever, and it's over. And I like that.
Yeah.
We need to bring back dueling, though, to the death.
To the death?
Because if we could duel to the death, someone like Mike Pence or fucking Ted Cruz or one of these guys, let's even go more extreme, like the fucking Lauren Boeberts of the world, who say all this hateful, awful shit to everybody and make fun of people and do just terrible things. If they know that they go ahead and make fun of the Bidens and they're sitting there besmirching Hunter Biden for being a fucking creep, which he probably is, he could go, hey, I disagree. I don't like this. I challenge you to a duel to the death. And you have to accept it or you are a coward. And once you're a coward, we'll get out of government. We don't have cowards in government. That's obviously a utopia.
Yeah.
Everyone in government's mostly a coward, but Caleb thinks, I'm not an extreme man. I think the death penalty should be only for extreme cases that are proven true.
Mm-hmm.
I do think if two people agree to fight each other to the death, that should be civil and it'd be allowed. And I like dueling.
I like it.
I like the slap before the duel with the glove.
Oh, yeah, that's the best part.
If I ever got in a disagreement with an adult man that was famous and I was famous, I would challenge him to the death. And if he doesn't accept, he's a coward. And if he does accept, well, then you got to go through with it. And that's a little... But again, you have to really be standing by your morals. That's another thing. If you know dueling can be an outcome, you're not going to fuck around and just say shit to say it, you know? You're not going to be like these media talking heads who just say things for outrage and pretend they believe it, but don't. No, you have to really believe it because you're going to die on that hill, literally.
Especially now weapons are so honed and because like back then you could be from you and me away and miss like the bullet would just go crazy left or something like that. Like, whew, I lucked out that time.
I think if we brought back dueling, we'd have to use the old guns because that way, if you got shot, there's probably a good chance with modern medicine you will be fine.
Yeah.
But you learned your lesson. Or, I don't know, fuck it. I mean, if it's a Republican, we could use AR-15s. Whatever. That's what they like. They want machine guns. We can use machine guns. Everybody loses in that duel. There's no winning. Grenade duel. I want a grenade duel.
Yeah, you go.
Rocket launcher duel. And you also, by the way, if you don't know the rules of dueling, you need a witness. Make sure it's fair.
Oh, it would be like the new American pastime.
If we brought dueling back, goodbye UFC, goodbye NFL. We're watching dueling.
Yes.
That'd be so fucking cool. Could you imagine like fucking fat ass old Trump and fucking geezer Biden going against each other in a duel? Some fucking baby 50 feet away on the side, you accidentally get shot in the leg. Old lady gets her coffee mug blown up in her hands. Like, oh my God, what's happening? But anyway, folks, we hope you love this wonderful episode that we planned super hard.
As you can tell.
Yeah. I don't know. It's Black Friday. I ain't feeling it. I had a rough day. If you want to follow us on social media, you can at DPW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Spencer, what was your name? Edmonton Effigy Erector Church.
Yes.
On OnlyFans. And it's just going to be a lot of Wayne Gretzky stuff. It doesn't have to be Wayne Gretzky, but he's the most famous guy I know that played for Edmonton.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody famous from Edmonton. Probably some wrestlers, I would imagine, but could have made you Winnipeg. Then you could have been Chris Jericho's buddy.
Oh, yay.
He went real bad, like off the rails. Like not just like Trump stuff, but like he's trying to get wrestling into the Olympics now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Like he wants to make like wrestling as which he did have a compelling argument. If you can have choreographed dance and
ice skating.
Yeah, why not?
Gymnastics.
There's no K in gymnastics.
I know there's not.
You're practicing your German or Russian or something. You know what? You'd be good at Irish because one, they sound like all the words are made up. And two, Irish doesn't have any C sounds.
Oh, yeah?
Was in, like my name is Caleb. Over there, it could be C-A-L-E-B as Caleb, like how it's spelled, but it's pronounced with the K, like mine is. But like, you know, we talk about Peaky Blinders, Cillian Murphy, it's C-I-L-L. So all the C words, you know, the letter C is always pronounced K. So I don't know if that helps you at all, actually. So anyway, thank you for listening, and take it easy, and catch you on the flip side, and wake up when the morning is sunny and bright, and eat the early bird's worm, and make sure you jacket in San Francisco, and all that other stuff that's inspirational, motivational, and I can't stop talking.
Stop. Hit the button, Caleb.
Goodbye.